What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Chances are that if you're here, you are like us and you like to race. So with the help of our partner at MassiveSpeedSystem.com, we're going to get one of you guys to come race one of these cars with us at 10,000 subscribers. So all you need to do is be 18, be able to get yourself to the track in Wisconsin, and comment down below, "I'm in," and that will let us know who to put on the list. Tell all your friends, and you might just be out with us racing one of these cars. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the title, we are back here with the budget race car build, assessing the damage from the last race that we didn't finish. I think we made 39 or 31 laps or something like that. Pretty much a bummer. You know, it's a big investment to get these cars ready, the entry fee, the fuel, all that stuff to get to the race, and then to only make that few amount of laps out of 300 is pretty depressing. But we're gonna start checking this out, see what we need to do for the next race. It's coming up here in a couple weeks. So Dad's back here getting it in the air, came back over. I know we whacked the front of the car on a big piece of bumper, if you saw the video from before. So I think the radiator support is kind of smashed in. It's kind of hard to see from here, I guess. But under there's kind of smashed up, and it actually broke the bottom of the radiator. So we got to get a new radiator on the way. We have a code for the knock sensor, so we're gonna get that from underneath, check that out, make sure that's not broken. I was thinking when that big piece of bumper hit the front of the car, it might have shook the engine and broke the knock sensor, and that's why we had our failure. Not really sure, but either way, we got to get this thing fixed and ready for the next race here. Alright, so when we were at the track, we were having trouble getting the OBD2 port to actually read with the scan tool for whatever reason. There was no communication there, so luckily on the Hondas, they have this other 2-pin connector right here that you can take a piece of wire, or in this case a paper clip, if it will ever focus. So basically you take your paper clip or wire, you loop that connector there, turn the key on to the on position, and it will actually blink codes with the check engine light. Long blinks are 10, short blinks are individual numbers 1, 2, so that's a 22. And if you can see on my phone here, a 22 is a VTEC pressure valve. So apparently that was our issue, the VTEC pressure valve, for whatever reason. Hopefully not because of low oil pressure. Didn't have enough oil pressure, or the valve itself went bad. So we're gonna have to either bypass that or get a new one or whatever. So I'll show you that in the engine bay here in a sec. Alright, so on this particular one, the VTEC oil pressure switch is that one there, and then you have the actual solenoid power that comes from the ECU. So either we can replace that or just bypass it altogether, which we might end up doing just to keep it from having issues again. At the track, we initially thought it was a 23, which was a knock sensor. I took the oil filter off from underneath over here and looked at it, and it looked like it was in decent shape, so that's when I decided to blink the code out again, and it was actually a 22, which is that pressure sensor. So I guess we're just gonna loop that and bypass it, and take it for a rip and hope it all works out, and we don't have any more problems again. If it is an oil pressure issue, well, I guess we're probably just gonna end up blowing this thing up at the next race, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we got the VTEC oil pressure switch disconnected there. We have this wire looping the actual connector to the ECU, and basically all that does is to let the ECU know that there's enough oil pressure for VTEC to engage. So obviously if that switch fails or there's not enough oil pressure, you know, you're not taking that oil pressure to engage VTEC. That's how it works, off of oil pressure through that solenoid valve there. So what we did was we unplugged the battery on both ends. We touched the positive terminal to the negative terminal. That basically drains all the capacitors in the ECU, and that will erase the faults. Obviously the best way to do that is with the scan tool, but for whatever reason ours doesn't want to communicate. So we have that looped. We have the ECU reset, and now the check engine light is not blinking anymore. That's going to be the next step. Probably take it for a rip, make sure it's working good, and hopefully we'll be sorted there. Then we have to order a radiator and get that all fixed. Kind of sucks, but that's racing, I guess. Look at the tow hook, got totally bent. So that big chunk of bumper did a pretty good number on it. The you can see where the bumper used to connect to the radiator support. It's a good, I don't know, 4 inches up or something like that. So that was a big hit on that thing. So we're gonna have to probably smash that down somehow and get the new radiator in there. I might go with an aluminum one just so I don't have problems. You know, I had another $300-400 a day ruined by one of these plastic end tanks on the radiator. So maybe this time when we upgrade, we'll go with an aluminum one and try to avoid some of those issues. All right, so took it for a rip down the street. We no longer have the code for the oil pressure switch, but there's still no VTEC. So, you know, I want to figure out if it's a mechanical issue or an electrical issue. So what I did basically was I took a wire from the battery, I ran it right to the VTEC power solenoid here, and the solenoid clicks, but when the car is running, there's still no VTEC. So that's telling me that basically there is something with the oil system that probably, because VTEC runs off oil pressure, so maybe the VTEC solenoid itself down there is plugged, or there's another issue internally. So not the super easy fix I was hoping for, but just gonna keep tearing into this thing until we figure it out. Gotta get it ready for this race coming up. So what we're gonna do next is take the actual entire VTEC solenoid off. There's 3 10mm bolts, one in the bottom, another one on the side over there, and then one back behind that oil pressure switch. And I guess, you know, quite a few people in the past have had the screen inside there block up with some gunk. This is a older lady owned this for quite a while, so you know, it's not the cleanest engine. Can't really see down in there, I guess, but it's not the cleanest engine. There is some carbon buildup and stuff, so that would lead me to believe that it is possible that the filter inside there, the little screen, might be clogged. That would block oil pressure from getting through and letting it engage. So we're going to pop that off, see how the screen looks, and go from there. All right, so we got the solenoid out. Initial impression is that there is a fair amount of shit in that filter. You can't really see daylight through it, I guess. Not much anyways. So first thing we're going to do, I guess, is clean that filter out, try to clean the solenoid out as good as we can with some brake clean, or I guess you could use carb clean as well, but there is a decent amount of stuff in there, so never what you want to see, I guess, but might be a clue as to why it's not working. So we're going to try to clean all this up as good as we can, maybe test it again, make sure that the solenoid is actually moving in there, and see if we have VTEC. Alright, so as you can see, a huge difference now with this screen. You can actually see through it. We got the solenoid here soaking in some carb clean. I brake cleaned this all out, as you can see. Sprayed a little bit in the clean up the surface there, get it ready to put back on, and cross our fingers, hopefully that's all the problem was. So it's a first for me. I know other people have said that this has fixed their problems before. In all the 15 plus years or whatever I've been working on these, I haven't had this problem, but usually my engines are quite a bit cleaner than this one. So we'll get it all put back together and see if it works. All right, so good news for now. Again, I have this Haggard-ass power cable here just to test it, and I basically you know, touch the solenoid power with this, and while it was running, and lo and behold, we have VTEC again. So super stoked on that. Just gonna take it for another drive here in a few minutes just to make sure that it's all good, rip it a few times. But yeah, first one for me that's been clogged like that, and I guess now I know. So glad to have that sorted. So gotta get a radiator on order. Bottom is all broke out like we showed you before. So other than that, we gotta look at some suspension stuff. Got a little bent before. We lost all of our little bit of camber that we had is gone. So we gotta check that out, get the new radiator in, and maybe touch a few more things up, and we should be ready for the next race.